Okay, so if you have bought one of these LS Swap low profile front sump oil pans from eBay, part number 81076, they come with no assembly instructions. They're sold under several different manufacturer names. You can get them from Jegs and off of Amazon. They're all the same thing. They're cast aluminum front sump, look like pretty good quality, but as I said, there's no assembly instructions at all, and I had to figure out how to put this thing together because it comes with this crossover tube that converts from a rear oil filter mounting to a front oil filter mounting, which is cast into the pan. It's pretty nice, but figuring out how to install that was quite interesting. But the first problem I ran into was this oil pickup tube that comes with it to replace the rear sump oil pickup tube. And this bracket was too short and would not breach the windage tray bolt. And I ended up having to cut a notch into the bolt hole of the bracket and then push it over the bolt after installing the oil pickup tube, and then putting an extra large washer to make sure I captured that fender washer. And I actually, if you can see, had to cut the washer down on one side to make it fit in the windage tray clearance right there and still capture that bracket. So that was the first issue that I had. If you don't do that and try to get it over the bolt hole, this is pushed over quite significantly. Not even sure the O-ring would make contact on one side. So my advice is to mount the oil pickup tube first with tightening those two bolts on the flange, and then make this bracket work. And then the tray comes completely disassembled with this crossover tube and everything separate. And figuring out how that works, first you install the tray inside here. Comes with 4 bolts for that. And the first thing that I noticed was the new oil dipstick hole was in the wrong spot for the cutout in this baffle. And I actually ended up having to bend the edge of the baffle over to make room for the new dipstick so that it will go down in there properly. So that was the first thing that was not right. And then, as I said, no instructions. So this has through drilled holes inside this casting, and it takes from the original oil filter area pickup, takes oil from there, transfers it through this tubing up to here, and you use the long screws that are provided to go all the way through and into the tapped holes that are right here. And there's a gasket that comes for both ends, and then this block off plate that actually has a machined out area in there to allow the oil flow to come through this passage and then back and down to the oil filter passage, because that oil filter passage inside is not, it's blocked off by a brass plug on the other side. So not exactly sure why they designed it that way, but this has to be installed here to allow oil flow to come through, around, and then back down into the center fitting of where your oil filter goes. And then on the other side, some of the kits that are sold actually come with plugs for these oil cooler outlets. This one that I bought off of eBay did not, so I'm going to have to get my own plugs that go right there. But it does provide these 2 bolts, which go through here and into the tapped holes that are on this flange. And there's a gasket right here. So that was just some of the problems, is figuring out how that tube actually mounts, what gaskets go where this block off, and I would almost call it a diverter plate goes. And there are two of these metal gaskets. They are metal and have a flanged side. I don't trust that at all for not to leak oil, and that is what goes right here. I don't know why they sent two. And this one's, I don't know if you can see, but it's even missing paint and rusted on one side. The other one was fine, no rust, and the paint was good. But I don't know why they sent two, but I just used one right here, and then I coated both sides of it with RTV, and hopefully that will stop any oil leaks. But the pan itself seems pretty good quality. It was clean. It's nice cast aluminum. Looks very good, and should work perfectly for mounting my front sump to go into this old Lincoln 59 Lincoln convertible that I have. I know, blasphemy, right? Mounting a LS engine in a Ford, but it's done a lot. It's cheap. It's easy. This is a budget build, and that's my next steps: is mount this oil pan, fix up some motor mounts, and then get this engine in there.